Hey everybody, I'm Victor Brooks of the Victor Brooks Show, Positivity Posse. I'm talking to y'all. You remember back in 2020 during COVID, it was the quarantine series that we did. You remember? And I want to dedicate this first show of the new season of the Victor Brooks Show, Positivity Posse, to my nephew, the legacy of one of the most in tune, incredible artist that I've known in my lifetime, Nicholas Cole McKnight. He was one of the ones that helped talk me into trying that whole social media thing back then. And he gave me that foundation of what I needed. Even though I was uncle and he was nephew, he still was able to teach me what it meant to share what we have with this new media exposure that the world is having. So it's only right that this first episode of the new season is dedicated once again to Nico McKnight. Much love and much respect to your legacy. Never forgotten. Nico forever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Victor Brooks Show, Positivity Posse, where we started, oh my goodness, way back. You remember all my Positivity Posse out there. We started this whole concept during COVID. And back then we called it the Victor Brooks Show Quarantine Series, where we invited all these, notable names and then some not so notable. You remember, because you've been asking for so long, when is this going to happen again? And life was lifing, as I learned from my nephew, a phrase, but for all of us since COVID, and as life does, it has moments where we have to be reminded of the power of positivity. It is a real thing. It's a powerful thing. Negative's going to happen, but positive will happen as well. It depends on the one that you feed. Everything else in between, it's called just dealing with life. And thank you for all these years since 2020 of continuing to share those episodes that you saw during that time, and talking about it, how much it still means to you and meant to you back then, meant to all of us back then. And I'd like to say, and I guess in our small way, we were able to take some of us through during that time while we were on lockdown. And that's what we want to do. We want to continue that, and no other time more than ever right now, with what's going on in the world. We need a reminder of how powerful positivity is during those times when none of us really know how to explain it. We don't know the words, but we know the feeling, because so many of us are sharing those feelings, especially right now. Just like I said, back in COVID, we had those feelings and we shared it. And that's why it was so important and so special to have those artists join me on camera, myself, and the incredible Wendy Vaughn, my niece back there in LA, when they came on and they talked about their journey through their artistry. Eddie Levert and Mickey Howard and Bill Duke and so many others who joined us, that I'm continually thankful for, because it let us know even more that even the ones we were able to listen to through their music or watch their movies, or that had a major part of the soundtracks and the video films of our life, were going through the same thing, but they had a word of positivity for us that during that episode we were able to take away and put it into our soul, and then be able to share it with others. I don't know whether it was just for an hour or two after the episode was off, or it seems as though it stuck with us even to this day. And that's what this whole rebirth of the Positivity Posse Victor Brooks Show is about, showing the power of artistry and how artistry combined with the message of positivity, it's an unbreakable, unshakable bond. And today, I'm so excited as the first episode back of the Victor Brooks Show Positivity Posse series to have two of the closest people in my life as far as artistry is concerned. These men have, we've had conversations about life. We've had conversations over the years of artistry and the combination of artistry and what it's all about and what it means to us to be able to give ourselves as artists, to give ourselves of what we feel, and then how excited we are to find out that the people who hear it or watch it, in Robert Golphin's case, watch his movies and can relate to what he's trying to say, who can hear Brian Jr.'s music and relate to what they're hearing and feeling because of the artistic expression. That's what this is all about. So thank you again. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
Always.
All right. Robert Golphin, filmmaker, director, writer, mentor of filmmakers themselves. It's an honor to have you back. It's an honor to call you my brother from another mother. And thank you for joining, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And also my nephew, my ace coon boom, my writing partner, my mentor in this whole social media thing of how to do. And actually, y'all, back in the day, he was the one that talked me into go ahead and take this to the virtual stage, you know. So I had no idea. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
And I said, I just want to do something, you know. So thank you for joining us today, man. It's really great to have y'all here. I want to really focus in. Let's talk about artistry in itself. You as a filmmaker, Rob, what is your mission of artistry? Nina Simone told us back in the day, and that one of the things of an artist's mission is to focus on what's happening in the world right now and kind of give the best we can voice to what it is. You as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a director, what do you see your mission as an artist, man, and the positiveness that you feel your artistry brings?
You would start with me first. You know, since I was a kid filmmaker at 14, I've always just tried to put a lens up to society, even before I knew that for a lot of artists, that is the mission, you know. I just was always interested in telling taboo stories and exploring characters that are going through real issues, you know, the real human condition. As I call it, the popcorn entertainment is lovely. It has its place. Sometimes I just want to sit back and, you know, chill and laugh and not have to do a whole lot of thinking. And that's A-okay. But my work tends to have lots of things to say. And I don't, you know, I don't want to tell people how to feel or how to think about something. Yeah. But I do want to provoke them to think differently about things, to look inward, to say, hey, you know, I had this opinion about this, I had this perspective, but maybe I'm looking at it all wrong, and I'll consider this or I'll consider that. Just trying to get people to shake up their foundation a little bit. So that's really what I'm about, as both a filmmaker and an actor. I love becoming characters and creating characters for other people that are very different from who they are. You know, sometimes that means playing a role or creating a role that is what somebody else might consider to be a bad person or, you know, evil or what have you. But I always say, if I'm directing an actor, don't look at this character as being someone who's evil. I want you to figure out why they are the way they are. And so that's what I love doing.
Whew, that's what I'm talking about. You mentioned the phrase, shake up their foundation.
Yeah.
That was powerful to me, because in order to have a foundation of something, that means you've had to build it on something. And if it's something that you want to shake up, break that down for me. How did that relate to you, BJ? with your thing?
You know, I can agree wholeheartedly with that. As someone who started out on their artistic journey really young, I think I honed the skills early enough for me to now be older to realize how to use them. And even just considering a lot of my peers, man, you can be stuck in your beliefs, you can be stuck in your conditioning, you can be stuck in your
Hmm.
geography. And a lot of my, like, I'm actually very, very, very dedicated now, like Rob said, to being like, no, I'm going to make you, I want to take you somewhere.
Right.
I want to get you out of your comfort zone, especially musically now. The things that I write about now, older, are very thought provoking and challenging. They may be packaged in a way that's easy on the ears, but if you're willing to listen a little deeper, it does have the potential, or at least I always hope it has the potential to make you blossom. I don't want to change your foundation. I would love to sprinkle some things in there that might activate your foundation in ways that another artist may not do that. You know, like I loved how you put it too, man. Like the popcorn entertainment,
Right.
because we can do it.
Yeah.
But if I can sprinkle something in there, you know, that makes you go, or you just feel something. If it makes you move, then I know I'm doing, you know, my job, because my favorite type of art is the stuff that makes me, it teaches me something, man. It gives me something I can teach someone else. It gives me something I can teach my kids.
And we're not necessarily trying to preach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm never doing this to
Gotcha.
people.
Gotcha.
I'm always doing like,
right.
have you, do you,
Yeah, right.
you know? And I think it's, I don't necessarily think it's our job to do that.
Right.
But I do think those of us that make it a part of our mission, it does give our art a little bit more oomph to it.
Gotcha.
Which can be harder for some people to digest. But if they do give themselves the chance to be open to, you know, something they may not listen to, or something they may not watch or read, or, you know, I do think that is what's continued to move the needle in the times as a society that we've needed it to. We've always had either the artists or the musicians or the filmmakers come at the right time in our moments of history that make the things that we end up loving for years and cherishing for years and sharing with our kids. And
that's right.
I don't take being a part of that group for granted at all. But I also I don't feel pressure either.
Right.
You know, which is what I appreciate.
And no artist should feel compelled or feel, you know, they shouldn't be made to feel bad if that's not their path.
There you go. And gentlemen, you hit it right on the head. See, Positivity Posse, this is what I'm talking about. You hit it on the head, which was my inspiration under your tutelage of social media back in the day, which was how that was one of the reasons why it was important to me to bring notable artists, as many as I could that had the time, were conversations we had had over the years, the artists who invited at different times of our life and careers and what have you, some who were my mentors, others who were but I wanted to bring those people, those artists on for just that reason, to show how their artistry was their tool over their career, over their years, to give exactly what y'all are talking about right now through their song. I remember Eddie Levert was talking about all of the songs, the Love Train and all of that he brought into what inspired, and what he's most proud of over the years is that it's still here. Like you're saying, it helped over the years of that creation of artistry, that during those times of COVID, oh man, it was a light. It was an uplift, you know? So I'm wondering also, guys, when you have an artist that, no matter what age, whether they're younger artists, same age or older, who feel that, you know what, that's nice, that's cool, but after that song goes off, or after that movie goes off, I'm back. It's the same world. Our young people are still at war that we have no idea why they're at war, which takes us back to what's going on. You dig? But we're talking about today. And that artist says, you know what? For that moment while we're watching that film or enjoying that painting or looking through that photography book that this artist is giving us or hearing that song, that we're just back to the same old thing. So why is artistry supposed to be all of that? Because I've gotten emails like that. Like, okay, we love what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing. But as soon as I turn off this show, it's back to the same thing again. And we're back into living hell.
Yeah.
You want to take that?
Yeah, man. You know, I think as someone who taps into also being a consumer as well, I grapple with that too. And I think what I've begun to tell myself is that though we may not see the ripple effect that our art has, we have to believe it's happening.
Nice.
I think the world is so vast now, even with how small social media has begun to shrink our perception of it. There's so many people out there, man. And I think what I would love to extend to everyone is just that sentiment of, even though the change may not become immediately apparent in your own personal worldview, we don't know how it's affecting the people around us.
Yeah.
You could be listening to a song with someone or watching a film with someone and having the same shared experience, but two very different effects can happen on you as individuals.
Right.
And I think that should also be, it should be recognized. You know, I know all too well the feeling of feeling small, or that the feeling of, well, I could write that, or I can make that piece of art, but what's it really gonna do? Yeah. Is anyone gonna really feel it, or anyone? I think it takes a level of bravery, you know,
yes, it does,
to continue to sharpen your iron and also share the work.
Come on.
Because again, man, you never know who will listen. You never know who's gonna read that one line that you couldn't get out of your head forever, that you finally shared, and now you've inspired the next whoever or whatever. I think it should almost inspire you more, that you don't that the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
For who you could reach. I think a lot of instant gratification gets in the way for a lot of artists as well. I had to grow past that. Young me, 21, 22-year-old me was so like, why aren't y'all listening to this? Yeah. Like, not realizing that there's a lot of people listening. And sometimes you can neglect those people that are paying attention by focusing so much on the whole herd.
Come on.
Yeah. And again, that's something I've had to really grow past, which leads me to being an oversharer now. It's like, well, I think that's how I counteract.
Break that down. What do you mean?
I mean, my whole thing is like, the more shots you take,
okay,
the more chances you've got. So if I'm putting out 100 to 200 songs a year, it can only raise the chances of reaching more people, as opposed to if I'm dropping 1 or 2 songs every couple months and not being very consistent. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, I'm about to just.
But let's be real, PJ. Not everybody is you. Like, the quality level is a whole different thing with you compared to some people. I think you got to take your time with some stuff.
There you go.
But I'll piggyback off of that if I can, and just say that as an artist, you create the work, and you do want to share it with people. You don't want it to sit on the shelf and collect dust. So as you're looking for that mass validation, that can become your Achilles heel.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You have to first, as I say, validate yourself.
Come on. There you go.
That's it.
I in the past, oh man, Rob is conceited, like
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Right.
I,
Right.
I think all of us artists have had
Right.
that put at us
You
at
know,
one
right.
point.
But if you
Right.
as I've said many times before, and I think I said it on your show
Yeah.
one time, you gotta
Yeah.
go in the mirror and you gotta say, yeah, I'm all that.
Come on.
Moving on. It doesn't mean you're better than other people, but it means you recognize that you have talent,
There you go.
a gift
There you go.
that you want to share. Why
That's
are you gonna
right.
shut up about that?
Come on.
100%.
man.
Belief.
That's right.
But it's also about realizing that, like BJ alluded to, that you can put the work out there. You have no control over who accesses it, how they access it, where they access it.
Yeah.
But no, there's always people watching you.
Come on.
They're
There you
always
go.
watching you.
That's
A lot of
right.
people watch you and never say anything.
100%. Most
Yeah.
most people do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's people that are watching you and actually rooting for you.
Yeah.
They may not do it in a way that you instantly see it.
Right.
Right.
They may not be the kind of people that can move and shake and get you to another level that you're looking to get to. But there are, if you find 3 people out there
Yeah.
that are for you and for what you're doing, that matters more than having 10,000 people
Come on.
whose faces you don't even know.
That's right.
100%, man.
That's right.
100%.
Yeah, you hit it because you remember that movie Stir Crazy back in the day when Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder walked in for the first time and said, "Yeah, we bad, we bad," So you got to have your Stir Crazy moment.
Yeah.
That only other artists really would understand. But I believe even people who don't, I believe everybody's born with some type of artistry. Everybody. But those who acknowledge it, even the ones who don't acknowledge that they have an artistic something in them, can relate to the fact that self-love, there's a difference between conceited and self-love.
100%.
But us as artists, sometimes it comes out like an atom bomb because we keep it in so long.
Yeah.
Hey, artist, Positivity Posse, I take my little commercials in between because I love the fact that we all sit down like we're talking together. Positivity Posse, your positivity is your positivity. I'm gonna say that again. Your positivity is your positivity, meaning what makes you smile makes you smile. Keep smiling on what makes you smile. Don't forget, for that moment, you're smiling. Don't forget, for that moment in time, especially now, back in the day, we had COVID. We didn't know if we were sick. We didn't know what the world was what was happening in the world. We just knew this was a stone cold trip that we're living in right now. But for those moments, not just when you watch the show, but the times when you were doing things in your life that gave you that good feeling, that gave you that reminder that no, it's not all bad. No, it's not all bad. If you for me, and I'm gonna say this like y'all brought a thing up before about your favorite song. We were talking earlier. Sometimes you got a favorite song, a favorite movie, a favorite book, whatever it is. For those moments that you are immersed, talking you, all of us, into that moment of artistic expression that has been laid before us. Those moments right there are powerful moments to each and every one of us that should never be taken for granted. And artist, keep writing what you're writing. Keep filming what you're filming. Keep doing what you're doing of your expression because you're going to help somebody. You're going to make somebody smile. And even with an artistic expression, if you see a movie that makes you cry, it's going to hit something here that's going to make you realize I'm not the only one. And that in itself, isolation is a mofo. So when you watch something or hear something that makes you understand, hey, I ain't in this thing alone. That's going to do something. So never stop. Artistic expression is one of the most powerful ingredients of positivity that the world has. So that's going to take me to, we can get on this all day, y'all.
Yeah.
We can give toot the horn of all you other artists because you know how my thing has always been. I will never stop tooting the horn and giving the props to any artist that has the magic and the strength and the power to be vulnerable and do what you do, to give it to us, to make us smile, make us cry, make us think, make us do what we do to the emotion that a lot of people stay hidden. Why? Because it's what we protect ourselves with. Ain't no shame in that. We all do that. You know, don't let nobody make you feel bad if you don't come out with your public feelings of what you have. But when you read that book and hear that song, come on, y'all. So today, what I'm also want to give shout out to these gentlemen, these kings of artistry, these dreamers, these creators, Robert Golphin and Brian McKnight Jr., is a film called Chest Candy, written and directed by Robert X. Golphin via Robert Golphin Entertainment. And the musical contribution that they infused together through Robert's film directing and writing and acting, oh my God, along with Brian's musical contribution of artistry, that whole production, gentlemen, I believe, is a testament to what I was just going off on a tangent about, that you artists understand why I went off on that tangent. But it has a combination of everything that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Chest Candy, I know what it did for me when I watched it. It's a short film, award-winning short film. Mm-hmm. Check it out, y'all. Check this out. Live or VIP pass, whatever you want to call it. But I'm so excited. I'm on my way to the premiere of Chest Candy. I can't wait for y'all to check it out. I can't wait to see it. Y'all check it out and let me know what you thought. Chest Candy. Once again, written and directed and starring Robert X. Golphin, you. An award-winning musical score by Brian Jr. You combined your artistry and the mission that we just talked about to give something to the world, okay? First, we talked about COVID and how artistry brought us through that. Now we're talking about what's happening in the world and how artistry can still keep us positive through this, the negatives, and how artistry takes us over. Your film, and I can't wait to get into the depth of what your film is about, but it has to do with our veterans, okay? Which is deep for me. It has to do with how our veterans are treated. It has to do with how our veterans come home and go through things that we can't imagine what they go through. Once again, COVID, now what's happening today, and what's always been happening as a negative is our veterans, the treatment of our veterans. But you all have found a way, once again through your artistry, to have that rose in that concrete jungle of negativity, which is the mission of saying something about our veterans. Living in Los Angeles for so many years, I would walk through or drive through, especially Wilshire Boulevard, right at that part by the Veterans Hospital when you cross the bridge and you're coming down. And right to the right, if you're going west on Wilshire, y'all from LA know what I'm talking about, you would see communities of tents or coverings. These were our veterans. And what really hit me was when I would walk through, and it wasn't just one veteran sleeping in a tent. It wasn't just one veteran who was living the life the best they could. Man, it was families in there. It was a father who was a veteran or a mother who was a veteran that came home and they don't have nowhere to live. They just gave their life, literally put their life on the line. And some, God bless, gave their life. Yep. But some who came home, the ones who came home to, I can't get a home. I can't get a loan. I'm coming home with PTSD, which is where Chest Candy took me here, because I have relatives with PTSD. I have relatives with bipolar schizophrenia because of past traumas. And these men and women, veterans, came home after seeing the macabre of what they saw on behalf of us. On behalf of us. So, one day I said, okay, I can walk through and feel the pain of my pain of seeing this, of watching their pain. So now what you gonna do, Vic? I'm not rich. I don't have a building I can say, let's turn this into a homeless shelter or something for veterans, but I can go buy 6 coffees and put in a tray. And I can walk through this area and pass it out. I can go buy gift cards and I can go pass it out to the families that need it. Oh, I remember seeing a family and one of the kids was like 12 years old. So what can I do? Well, let's see. What is a 12-year-old kid like? Let's go take it to him. Now, I'm not tooting my own horn, but what I am saying is I needed a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I needed a wake-up call. And Chess Candy, I believe, is a positive wake-up call. The dramatic in it hits you. Your acting hits you.
Amazing.
And then follow up with the music and the lyrics. I want to talk about all that. Because to me, it was the perfect combination of film and music, holistic artistry, for a serious mission of what we need to have. And y'all brought a positive light to it. Much congratulations and respect.
Thank you.
Rob, tell me why Chess Candy even entered your mind to want to do it, brother.
I mean, I think it's part of what you just said. There wasn't one single thing that inspired me. It was just years worth of stories that I heard from different loved ones and relatives and strangers and colleagues that served or were part of military families that served. But also on the surface level, we walk by and drive by people every single day, and often they're holding cardboard signs that say veteran or disabled veteran. Can you spare some change? Can you, spare a meal? That they need shelter, they need help, whatever it is. And, we walk right over them. And it's very easy to say, well, this one's an addict. This one's an alcoholic.
Right.
They don't care about their station in life. Well, we don't know their story.
Come on.
We don't know how they got there. We don't know what the real deal is. And I just felt that there's no excuse for why our service people should come back and not be cared for by this country that they fought so hard for. It pains me. And, you may not have the money, like you said, but sometimes it's just about stopping and offering a smile. Hey, I'm going to pray for you. I mean, something, you don't know what someone may be feeling in the moment that's been sleeping in a tent or sleeping in a car or sleeping under a bridge that may have served. And you just stopping to acknowledge that they exist might say to them, you know what? I was ready to give up, but somebody smiled at me today. Someone didn't laugh at me or point at me or spit on me or whatever. And it might have them go on another day, and then maybe another day, and then maybe another day, until finally, hopefully, prayerfully, they're back on their feet. So I just was really affected by that. I don't come from a military family directly, although my grandfather did serve, and I have relatives that served or are currently serving. But I would have these informal conversations over many years about what their experiences were. Some who've seen combat, some who haven't, but they can still have PTSD regardless. And I did this 30-second scene years ago for an acting reel of a different version of this character in Chess Candy. And I had actual service people and folks say, man, you need to expand on this. And so in the back of my mind for years, I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Right.
Finally, a few years ago, I said, all right, let me put pen to paper and really massage this character and massage this storyline into something that can be, a fully realized picture. And so that's how it was born. Now, the interesting thing about Chess Candy is that I thought that Chess Candy was about my character. When I finished filming it and then I edited it, I realized it wasn't so much about me. It was about the 3 generations of women in my character's
Oh,
life, and
gotcha.
how these, my daughter, my young daughter, my wife, and my mother,
Gotcha.
how they were holding together the family in my absence, but
Wow.
also when I came back.
Right.
So I was,
Right.
even the log line for the film changed once the film got into post production. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what this film is about.
Uh-huh.
In many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, women have had to hold down the fort,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of what made Chess Candy come about.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Man.
Man.
It's honestly wild that you say that, just so I don't lose this train of thought. 'Cause
Yeah,
I don't
go
think
for
we've
it.
even talked about this, but
Uh,
without even knowing that,
yeah.
the first 2 scenes I scored for it, and the main theme that then stuck throughout the score,
Mhm.
were the scenes. The one scene with your mom, and then the scene with you and Lauren in bed. That scene with you and Lauren looking at each other when you like that for me was like, okay, well, this is it. How can I make this moment musically expand throughout all of it?
Mm.
Yeah.
And then the scene with the daughter, the end scene, that was my favorite. It's awesome because you
Yeah.
killed that,
Exactly.
bro. Like
You
it was
did.
amazing.
Yes.
So it's awesome to hear. It gave me chills when you said it because I was like, man, we didn't even talk
No.
about that.
No.
And yet it was the female characters that inspired the softness of the theme I ended up writing for your character. Because the theme is you hear your character, that the piano lines that you hear through it
Come on.
are for you, but they were definitely inspired by those tender moments with the female characters. So that's awesome, man. That connection, because again, we didn't talk about that. It just
Right,
happened
right,
naturally.
right.
And yeah, it literally formed my entire compass for what I made the music based upon.
Mm.
So that's amazing, man. That synergy somehow
Yeah.
came through.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And once again, it shows that combination of artistic connection that you guys
Mhm.
have and had with Chess Candy. And you brought up the music because actually that was going to be my question to you. Like, what inspired you in the movie? How did you and that your mention of those scenes. What was when you were the lyrics to your song? Please give me the let's that first line. You whenever you want to, but the lyrics to your song spoke to me in a way that I identified with the movie and the process and the incredible way you connected with this storyline. But also, I was able to see it and feel it with other parts of my life.
Mhm.
Was that a mission for you too?
It's interesting, man. When the title song came, like me and Rob were just talking about it the other day. I felt I wanted an end point to match the message at the end, to match what we were trying to convey, and the whole theme about it, the whole you can't tell me what's in my mind isn't real.
There you go.
You can't tell me that what I feel isn't how I'm feeling. And to echo the sentiment of what I felt from your character, and especially the moments that he would come to, and it would and almost be in awe of not knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of not realizing the women around him are hurting, but they're there. They're sticking it through with him. That moment with y'all laying in bed, I always refer to that because that was the first scene that brought the story to life for me. Because I was like, man, this is love.
Come on.
This is a story of love,
Right.
redemption,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's not. I don't want to. I'm reluctant to say struggling or anything like that, but it's a love story,
Yes.
man, of
Yes, it is.
perseverance. And I tried my best to convey that message in the song while keeping it absolutely real about the fact that it's like, you don't know what I've seen. You don't know what I've gone through. You don't know why I react this way. You don't know why I have these moments of lashing out, of extreme protection, is what I felt from the character.
Yes.
He wasn't abusive,
Right,
just to be
right,
abusive
right.
or anything like that. Those moments he had, he's like, I'm protecting my loved ones.
Come
'Cause
on.
this is what I say in the song, this is what I was trained to
To
do.
do.
Yep.
I'm trained
That's the
in this
lyric.
way to
That's right.
protect
That's
the
right.
people that I love, and I'm just
Mhm.
doing what I feel is right.
Yeah.
And that there were moments where I'd be scoring, and I would feel that, and it was overwhelming, man. I would get goosebumps all over. And you got to think at the time, I'm also, I'm doing this play. We're doing the Pulp Fiction play, and I'm playing these characters. Samuel L. Jackson. I'm playing, you know,
Yeah.
not a villain, but
Mhm.
I was also filled with all of that angst from, so all of that fed into even the end song in particular.
Mhm.
I wanted to be as to the point as I could, but as delicate about it. And it just came through, man, like a stream of consciousness. I think I one taked it, like I told. I think I one take the whole
Gotcha.
thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Marvin in it. There's a lot of. It's not preachy, but I tried my best to instill what I felt the character was trying to. It was like what he hoped he could say.
Gotcha.
Is the best way I could put
Gotcha.
it. I tried to put that on wax
Mhm.
as like his inner monologue with himself through song. Like, I love you so much, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my reactions. I'm sorry for what my trauma has done to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That now, that is taken out on the people around me
Hmm.
naturally. Which I think is something that there's so many people are dealing with, man, especially our young men and women in service that come home from seeing the most things we can't comprehend.
Come on. That's it, man.
And
Can't
Rob,
comprehend.
man, your performance,
Mm.
like there were sometimes, I mean, I would watch and I would watch and I would watch and I would watch just to watch you, man.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
incredibly,
Yes.
all of that informed the music because I wanted it to be good for you, man.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Because you killed it, man. It was amazing. Like it was amazing. I'd be watching the dailies while with my cast. Like I told you, there was a couple of times where they would be, because I'd be locked in, and everyone's trying to figure out what I'm working on, and I'm like, I can't really show y'all nothing yet. But when I was working on that end scene in particular, the climax, I did happen to have a few people around me watching, and even they were like, "What is this? Like who are these characters?" And I'm like, "It's Rob."
Yeah. Yeah.
And we go back, man. This my boy Rob gave me my first experience on set, and playing characters, and the confidence he gave me playing Claxton, being at St. Aug, and that experience, man, I cherish wholeheartedly. It taught me so much about teamwork in a different way that I learned from
Mm.
sports. Having to show up every day and work together, um, in a way to bring a project like that together, it meant so much to me, man. So when it came full circle, because we've been talking about working for years and
Long time.
years,
Look at that.
giving me my first real scoring opportunity, man.
Right.
And then obviously watching it get to where it's going, and now we're winning awards.
That's right.
It's very thankful for that, man. I'm very thankful for you and your artistry and being open to allow me, and giving me the time a little bit to be able to get it done. But I love that. Like I told him, he's a great leader, man. He's a great
Yes,
leader.
he
He'd be
is.
like, "Yo, man, I'm not trying to. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm rushing you, but I'm kind of rushing you." But that I needed that. I think
Yeah.
even for this
Yeah.
particular project, it gave me that sense of urgency as well to really lock in and bring it to life in a way that was very much a collaboration,
Mm.
with all of our shared history, shared traumas, and I think what our shared goal as artists is, and
There you
that's
go.
just to inspire
There you go.
and shake the foundation of people, man.
Shake the foundation.
That's really it.
I think we got a song on that.
I think we
Shake
do.
the foundation.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I didn't expect the acceleration of the post-production process, because what happened is, we shot the film, and then right after we shot the film, I was teaching my yearly film camp. So we went into like a little bit of a hibernation phase. And then once I came out of the hibernation phase, things started taking off more. So then it's like, so BJ, remember when I said you'd have some time? Yeah, not so much. So that's what happened.
That's all right. That's all right. And I can see the joy. I can see the genuine camaraderie. And I mean, that makes it make sense of why your holistic or the final product of the film and the music came across to us, the viewer, as it does. Awesome. Why you are winning awards for that,
His music, and especially that end title song, it literally was another character, or at least an extension of my character. As he said, the inner monologue or whatever. But it would not. You can say that the performances were great, and I believe that they were, especially my castmates.
Mm-hmm.
But without that music, there would have been a major element missing.
Gotcha.
Just structurally, emotionally, everything. It all had to connect, or else it would be incomplete. So.
I got you, man. What if you could sum it up? What artistically did the music? You almost went into it there, and it jolted me to ask you this. What did the music and your film creation as well, that combination of the two, did it pull off what you as the creator and director wanted it to pull off to the public?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say this: when early on in the process, I sent BJ some musical tracks, but it wasn't so much for his inspiration. He may have taken it that way, but it was just things that I write to. When I'm sitting down to write a script or write a book or whatever it is I'm doing, I'll put on the headphones and have the music on. Usually it's like a TV soundtrack or a movie soundtrack. So I wasn't expecting him to listen to something and emulate it. I didn't want that anyway, because he is his own genius, and I knew whatever he brought to the table would be what it needed to be.
Gotcha.
But he would start, sending me samples of what he was doing and what he was thinking about. And there was never a situation where I was like, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And I think I sent you the scenes with no temporary music, right? Okay, good. Because I don't like to influence composers.
Okay.
But when I'm putting the film together just for myself and for my producing partners, I would put temp tracks in it.
Okay.
But I know not to get married to it, because if I get married to it and then my composer does something completely different, either it's gonna work or it's gonna blow the other one out of the water.
Gotcha.
Which in this case, of course, it blew everything out of the water.
Okay.
But I would have a temp track in place. My co-producer Lauren and I, who also starred in the film with me, Lauren Michelle Morgan.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
We both would watch the different cuts and everything, and each time I would change something and I put the temp track in, and it'd be like, oh, this is cool, this is interesting. And then when BJ's music gets on it, it's like, whoa,
wow,
and it just takes it to a whole another level. So I don't know if this is answering your question, but I think that BJ's score exceeded every expectation that I had, but I knew it would. I wasn't even concerned about that. He thought of things that I didn't necessarily think of. But it was really a hands-off situation for the most part.
Okay.
I said, here's the script, here's the scenes, work your magic, because that's just the type of director that I am. Even with my actors, I hire you, get on set, do your thing. If you need me to give you some direction, I will. But I don't want to tell you who your character is. And that's the music too. I don't want to tell you who it is. I'm not a helicopter in that way. Because it's everybody else that is collaborating with me that's going to make what I'm doing way better. And then I still get to take credit for it.
Come on now.
100%.
So,
as you should.
That's right.
But no, I mean, it was beautiful. Every single time he would send me a new piece of score for the film, I'm like, wow, this is brilliant.
Right on, man. Right on.
It was so much fun, man.
Yeah.
I my only gripe is that the film wasn't a feature or longer. We could have had more.
Have you thought about making this a full length?
In the back of my mind, yeah, people have wanted me to. I always say if I do it, I don't know if I'll play the main character. I might want to put some fresh energy into it. But my cast, I just want to work with every single person that was in this film with me again.
Yeah.
I mean, Ariana Pratt, who plays my daughter.
Amazing.
Oh man,
That
Yeah.
last scene.
Amazing.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Amazing.
her.
How old was she when
scene.
we filmed that?
I think she was 10.
See,
Wow.
come
Yeah.
on,
Amazing, man.
yeah. Your selection of characters and how they presented themselves and how they did what they did was remarkable. The gentleman who played the army
Mhm.
corporal or the sergeant,
Joey Collins.
Joey
Yeah.
Collins,
Broadway
fantastic.
star.
Broadway, I mean, everybody.
It
You
was
gave
great,
us what we wanted, and that's the beauty of art.
Mhm.
Us as the listener or the viewer, we didn't know we wanted that until we watched it or heard it.
Mhm.
So I'm happy when I watched and heard Chess Candy that you gave me what I wanted, because as I mentioned at the beginning, when I went on my rant about my love and respect for our veterans
Mhm.
and my disdain for what our veterans have to go through, you gave me that hope.
Mm.
You gave me that hope. The movie gave me the hope. The music endorsed that hope. That's why I can smile after hearing what you guys, how you came up with it, what you did together, what your mission was. I can smile. My positiveness of Chess Candy is number one, the fact that these two artists are doing what artistry is supposed to do. That gives me a hope. That gives me a positive approach that you're continuing it on. It didn't stop with Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, asking the question what's happening,
Yeah.
It didn't stop with all of the movie, The Spook That Sat by the Door. You dig what I'm saying? Go look it up. If you haven't heard it, you'll understand why that artistic expression
Mhm.
is why I made a reference to it now, because it has, some things have to be said.
Mhm.
Some things have to be, and the fact that somebody like you all took the time to say it, to make the noise, that's my positivity. That's why I can smile. And the people who I've called and talked to over the years since the release are saying the same thing. I've talked to certain family members and friends who their family members are veterans or have veterans who some have passed away, and some even after post-war, some are still here, but they ring that same thing, that, oh man, this is what I wish my uncle could have seen this before he passed away. Or I showed it to my aunt, she saw it and it hit right, where she. What reaction are you getting from veterans? Well, before we go there, did you talk to veterans in your setup to this, and what did they give you for that?
So I spoke to veterans and veteran families informally and some formally. I had consultants that were military and mental health, and then I had a lot of consultants that weren't credited. Some that didn't want to be credited. They're protecting their peace, and that's understandable. And so it was just really a combination of all that. But I also spent a year watching every single war movie, documentary, news special that I could find dealing with war and combat and PTSD and the families dealing with it. So I had a mix of real and fictional material to work from. And as I say, probably I consumed an unhealthy amount of it.
Okay.
I'll be very honest.
All right.
But I felt like I had to do that in order to deliver the best
Come
kind
on.
of performance I
Come on.
could. And the example that I give of going so far into a role is the scene where Lauren puts the headphones on my head.
Yeah. Powerful.
She kisses me on my forehead, but I didn't know that happened until I edited the scene. I don't remember that moment because I was so locked in the moment. And it was an interesting thing, and pull me back if I go on a tangent.
No, go
But
for it.
when we were filming, I didn't get a chance to really connect with Ariana that much on set. Thankfully, Lauren was there to spend time with her. Probably worked for the character, though, that we didn't get to lock in. But I was back and forth between directing and acting but I still was staying in that zone as much as I possibly could. So I there were times where even when I look back at some of the behind the scenes footage, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely a moment when I was away from reality for a moment.
Okay.
But I wanted to see how the families were affected by it as well, even though I didn't realize that the movie wasn't about me. But subconsciously, all that was going into my mind, and it really, I think, helped serve me well in this. And what was the other part of the question? Oh, just the feedback.
The feedback.
Yeah. So I had a lot of military people and military families come up to me at screenings, after private screenings, festival screenings, and online virtual screenings, just saying, you really hit the nail on the head with this. A lot of folks thought that I had served. I had to,
Wow.
I had to make it a point to start saying, so I am not a veteran from like jump.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to,
Yeah.
make people feel like I served when I did not. But I also wanted to make sure that I respected and honored what they've been through.
Gotcha.
To the extent that I could, because I'll never be able to walk in their shoes.
Oh man, I believe from the outside I look, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a film writer, but as a viewer of that film and a fan of your work, you took me there, and you took me there. One of my, like a brother from another mother, his name was Frankie Gaye, Marvin Gaye's brother. And it took me back to when Frankie used to tell me, we would have, sit down and talk, and he gave me the story of how the song What's Going On was inspired through his times at Vietnam, and through his times of going to war and what he came back home with. And I remember Frankie specifically saying, and shout out to Frank and Irene and the kids, and much respect, Frank Jr. nephew just won an Emmy for his editing. But Frankie he made it clear that then it wasn't a lot of hype. It wasn't a lot of publicity about what these soldiers came home with, which was one of the, you had certain governmental movies that hit it and quit it, but they mainly was talking about the whatever. But it wasn't a lot of things that people could watch to say what you're saying with Chest Candy, right? Until he said, that's what Marvin told him. It was that I've got to say something about this. He used to talk about how they would quiet times and just everybody would sleep in the house, and it was just him, and he was sharing the war stories with Marvin. He was sharing the ups and downs, and how Frankie said he came home with things that he couldn't shake off, and he would relay that to Marvin, and that hence made the classic of What's Going On. But at the end of it, he said, Vic, I just knew, he said, number one, I knew my brother, that he couldn't let that go, and I saw the way it was affecting him while we were talking. I didn't know he was going to create this from our talk. And I remember Frankie saying that the positiveness, and I'm not going to go there, I'm a waterhead, but I'm reliving those times with Frankie and remembering how important it was, how it touched him, that he said the positiveness, Vic, of seeing what the song What's Going On has done to the world. He said, it gave me a hope that through it all, somebody's going to be able to be reached. My fellow veteran brothers who feel like we don't have a voice, the song gave them a voice. The people who weren't there but had family members there, now they have a brand new understanding about what we came home with. Yeah. He said, now the hope is, with the understanding and through my brother's creation of this song, the world's going to treat us better as veterans. Starting with our government, starting with the people locally of what, all we wanted to do was serve our country. All we were doing was doing what our mission was supposed to be. So I'm fast forwarding to Chest Candy because in my opinion, your creations film and music wise, is continuing that hope out of the no hope situation. The no hope situation of war, of the reasons of war that I don't really believe we, and even some of the soldiers, God bless them, might not even understand why. But it gives a hope that we are not forgotten.
Right.
Absolutely.
Your music, your filmmaking gives that hope, in my opinion, as a viewer, that these ladies and gentlemen, these heroes, now have another way of letting the public know, yeah, we did what we did for all of us. Now, I need a little help too. I'm back home. This is what I'm dealing with. So give me a little help, you know, get the insight. Man, you know, much respect to your artistry, gentlemen. Much respect to what you've given the world.
Can I add?
No, go for
before
it.
you wrap, I want to acknowledge that, you know, Ari, who plays the daughter, she's a military brat.
Come on.
So her mom was a consultant on the film, and she was
Right on.
former Army. She was on set all the time.
Yeah.
Ari's other parent is military as well. So
See
Amazing.
there?
Yeah.
See there? And you know, no, hey.
But I didn't know that when we cast her.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that ahead of time. So.
The actors, the other actors on the film, what have you, after they saw it, what did they come back to you with?
So Joey, who plays, you know,
Excuse
the big bad sergeant, Joey Collins is a Broadway and screen actor. If you haven't seen a film, it's called There Is a Monster. Go look it up. Feature film. He's brilliant in it. It's a psychological drama. I don't want to give anything away, but you need to see that. He unfortunately was so busy, he never made it to any of the festival screenings because the man is working.
He's
like
doing his
constantly
thing.
on
Right,
stage somewhere.
Right.
So I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
But I know that he seemed to be very happy and satisfied with the project. And Antoinette Green, who plays my mom, Lauren Michelle Morgan, who plays my wife, they all have made it to multiple screenings. And I just think everybody involved has been very pleased with the reaction from people. Because I think at the end of the day, it's less about, oh, did we do well?
Mm-hmm.
And more about how did it affect audiences.
Right.
And I, as much love as we've gotten from audiences,
That's powerful.
and from actual military people. I mean, I was at festivals and I'd be speaking to different actors that were in different projects, different people that came to see the films, and then at the very end of the conversation, they would say, "Oh, by the way, I served."
Come on.
So they talked to me about how the movie affected them,
Yeah.
and they almost don't even tell me that they have direct connection to the military because, you know, like I said, some people who have served are protecting their peace, and a lot of them just are not braggadocious about fighting for the country.
There you go.
It's just not their thing.
They're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're not, man? What do you think holds some back? Because I think about that.
You know, can't even imagine. I can't imagine. Especially now. I can't imagine what our men and women of service, how they feel about America
Come
these
on.
days is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Without getting into it.
I got you.
Which I even further can't imagine how much that would add to the a weight of also not being able to share your experiences
Yep.
There you
as
go.
well.
There you go.
Which is why, again, I think a project like Chess Candy gives people a little bit of room to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, gives them a reason to share that they've served.
There you go.
Which I think is huge too, man.
Yeah.
And I've heard from some service people that, you know, they say, we know when people say thank you for your service that they mean well,
Right.
but sometimes we don't know how to take that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Break that down.
I mean, I can't even fully articulate where they're coming from on that angle because sometimes they can't fully articulate it. It's just the emotions that they have. I mean, they've seen things that they would never even be able to describe to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had conversations with loved ones who, you know, as I was writing the film and even after, who came back and, you know, they'd go to the mall and they'd hear a loud noise in the mall, and
Yes.
they're always on guard and
Yes.
they're always reacting.
Mhm.
You know, it's not a normal existence for them
Mhm.
anymore. So, and then also I think in some cases they probably don't even want any more of a burden on the people that they love.
100%.
More
Yeah.
of a burden on the people, which you brought out so artistically in your movie,
Mhm.
that, when you see, and I know you're going to watch Chess Candy, what is it, 17.5 minutes or something like that?
About 17 minutes.
Yeah, 17
Yeah.
minutes, but the power of reality and must see impact that you gave in those 17 minutes, man, it stays with you. And you know what, hey y'all, Vic, and hopefully you understand with this positivity posse, this is not a blow smoke session when we do these things. And I just got to keep it real with you like that. And that's one of the things that helped us move during the COVID time when we did these, live interactions on there. It's not a blow smoke. We're not up here just, stroking each other's egos. No, we are giving what artists should be giving as much as we can with each other.
Yep.
Hey, y'all, as artists, if we can't give support for each other, hey, something's wrong. Now, ego is ego. Come on, we need that in certain times to create. We got to. Brian brought it out earlier that we need a sense of self-worth. I'm not knocking that. But when we take that to the extent of knocking another artist down because they don't do, or we don't have to like everything another artist is doing. A lot of artistic stuff doesn't speak to me. I ain't gonna lie about it. It doesn't speak to me. But I ain't gonna watch the movie, or I'll give it 5-minute rule, and if it ain't hitting me, I'm turning. If it's a song that I'm not digging and I'm like, oh, okay, nah, they doing, I ain't gonna listen. But what I'm not going to do is, just because it didn't speak to me, I'm not gonna knock that artist for having the guts to put it out there of what they tried to do. So in my opinion, times like these are positive, man, because we get a chance to support each other.
Absolutely.
We get a chance to tell each other stories and thank each other. And I want to thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you
For what you have given us, given the veterans. Thank y'all. Thank you for having that artistic insight to want to tell a story that maybe even you didn't live through that particular story, but you had the insight to want to tell a story through film and through music. And y'all have fed us. And as long as that chess candy can be seen, that music can be heard. That combination of that artistic expression is going to heal. I have no doubt, because some of the veteran families, like I mentioned before, who've seen it are saying, that was a healing. That was my auntie. I keep going back to that one. I won't say the names, but my auntie saw it and she was like, wow, somebody got this. He got this. That's positive to me. Is there anything either one of you all want to give the positivity posse out here of anything, whether it's chess candy, whether it's artistic, whether it's something that you feel somebody may need to hear right now in these times that we're living in?
I will just say that more love and empathy and compassion. I mean, it may sound cliche, but more love, empathy, and compassion is needed for your fellow man or woman. You never know what people are going through. We all have challenges that are going on behind closed doors, and I think it doesn't. I would hope that it doesn't hurt you to take a moment, just a moment, for someone else on any given day, and just offer a smile, offer a handshake. I know we live in this time where it feels like it might be dangerous to communicate with anybody, but I think you just never know what someone may need. And I would hope that if I'm having a rough day and I'm walking somewhere, going somewhere, sitting somewhere, and someone says, "Hey man, you good?"
Yeah.
And that's all.
Right on. Right on.
That's all.
Right on, man. Fantastic.
You know, I wrote a jam for my latest project that became like the anchor of it, which I think expresses my sentiment just on life in general now. And I say, don't mind me, I'm just enjoying myself, trying to find peace without hurting anybody else. So be kind, please, it's good for your health. You never know how far it goes. So sing this if you can relate, 'cause you could save a life. It's probably the realest shit I've ever written. 'Cause you never know, man.
Come on, man.
And the smile you give, the look of approval or the look of acceptance that you give someone could quite literally save their life.
Save their life.
So be kind, please, man.
Amen to that.
Oh, come on. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
This is
you.
what I'm talking about. Rob Golphin, Brian McKnight Jr. Follow their Instagram pages. Follow their YouTube channels. Follow all of the social media that's attached to these two artists. We talked about their collective project, their collective mission through Chess Candy.
And this won't be the last.
This won't be the last. That's right.
Just the beginning.
But we want you to follow them on what they're doing individually and have been doing for years individually, and get connected with your own sense of artistry. I believe everybody's born with some type of artistry. You know, whether you admit it or not, or whether you see it or not, everybody wants to create something, and that's where artistry starts. But for those of you who are artists, run this conversation back, share it with somebody else. Let somebody else see what we, as your fellow artists, are talking about that only artists sometimes can understand. That only artists sometimes can feel what it is that we're feeling and talking about what we feel right now. Why? Because that's the positiveness. That's the positiveness. That's the positiveness of artistry. Even through the negative, we made reference to war. We made every reference to anything negative in this life. Art has a way of explaining, even if it's just down to the fact that somebody else is feeling the same way I am and I'm not alone. That's the positivity and the Positivity Posse motto since 2020. Come on, y'all. Come on back next time and go to watch your promos on for the Victor Brooks Show, Positivity Posse. Take some of this positivity on you. Let it get on you, y'all. You know what I used to say? Take a bath in it. Take a shower in it. Scuba dive in it. Skinny dip in it if you want to. But the main thing is, get into that positivity. When you jump out, sprinkle it on as many people as you can. Because that's what it's all about. We love you, and we'll see you next time. A lot of people aren't able, but if you're able, I just want to read off a few places that I know at the times I can help, I have helped, contributed to in my way of wanting to assist in their mission of assisting our veterans, right? Wounded Warrior Project, incredible project. Disabled veterans, disabled American veterans also reach out if that's where your heart is. The American Legion is doing things. National Veterans Foundation, they're doing things. Operation Homefront. And the Bob Woodford Foundation is another incredible foundation. These are just some. But in the new age of, I said new age, but in the new age of what we're doing, Google it. Go ahead, Google and Siri or whoever the other AI speakers that you talk to. Hey, where can I help veterans? What can I do? What companies, what organizations can I go out there and that are out there that can, and your list will come up, Reach out to them, y'all. Let's do what we can. Thank you.